Hello, 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 lovely people. How are you guys doing today? I am doing good. I am doing good. I'm glad to see a few people in the chat. Um, this was a last minute live. Usually sometimes I prepare. I did the same thing yesterday, but I had some things that I kind of wanted to talk about, and I really felt like this was something that people needed to talk about because basically we were kind of talking a little bit about that yesterday, but it's really has to do with a lot of people not having a lack of empathy and sympathy, and really sometimes I believe it's because everything stems in hate. You know what I'm saying? Hey, Young Riaz. Hey, Captain Wolf. Hey, Gartrell. And a lot of things are stemmed in hate, and we don't even realize that we are becoming what we maybe fight against. And sometimes what we fight against is hate. And when I was looking in the dictionary, I found out that hate is a feel intense or passionate dislike for someone. And how many of you guys have experienced that feeling? I don't care how good you think you are. I don't care how you know the Quran, you know the Bible, you feel like you know you're very good moral standing. Hey CC, you're good at moral standing in your community, with your family, or at your church, or any type of worship center that you go to. You are going to struggle with some intense feelings when you feel like you've been wronged by someone, when you feel like someone has offended you in a way that it's very hurtful, or if it's not hurtful, it makes you angry. But I always say before we get angry, we're hurt by something. And even with people we don't really know, we can be hurt by something, and that hurt it sometimes, if we don't deal with the hurt, we it manifests into hate. And sometimes it sneaks up on you, and you don't even realize the hate that you may have for the person. um it's so sneaky how hate sneaks upon you. Hey, peep gang, how you doing? I've been missing you. We don't even realize how much we have dealt with hate. And hate doesn't really bother the other person, it really bothers us the most, because the fact that they exist or that they breathe can sometimes make us very irritated, to the point that we don't want them to be here. And I don't know if you've ever felt that way. Hey, Learn to Be. I don't know if you've ever felt that way. Happy Sunday to everybody. But I have. And I'll be the first to admit. Thank you, Peep Game. Because I was wondering where you were the other day in Brown Skin Ladies chat. But we sometimes lose focus on what is most important, and how hate, it doesn't affect the other person, but it affects us. And I want to share some things that I see that's going on in the world, and it kind of has something to do with the live that I did. Maybe I think it was a week and a half ago, where it was tough love. We was talking about the lack of humanity. Like, do people see each other as human anymore? Do they care? And these kind of subjects, this will lead you, to a very small crowd, because people are so into the drama, and they get fueled by hate. Things and subjects like this, it's like, well, they don't say it's hate. They just say that it's the fuck shit, or it's drama and stuff like that. So they don't identify with what they're really participating in. And we all have done it. I have. I'm pretty sure you have. And it's gonna be like that until we leave this earth. Um, hey, come on, baby, how are you? It's gonna be like that. So I want to share this story with you because I thought it was pretty interesting. I got a lot of stories to share with you, and I want you to check out um, the Family TV. The Family TV is a really good channel. It focuses more on some of the things that are going on in the urban community. And not to say that there's not a lot going on in affluent communities, because it is, but it this one focuses more on the urban communities, like in the hood areas, like in Chicago, different areas in the United States. So I wanted to share this video with you guys, and then at the end, I'm going to have an open panel um, on this particular subject of why people do the things they do and what is hate, or are you fueling into the hate? That's do you get fueled by hate? Because we see it so much, just like I was talking about YouTube yesterday, how it's dangerous out here. You got you can't you can't trust people. You don't know their motives. You know, a lot of people have um a lot of things going on, and they really they just don't care. And I want to share this with you guys.
Was shot and killed on the 4th of July on his way home from being with friends. It's the fourth teenager killed in Fort Dodge since the beginning of May.
He should be burying me. I shouldn't have to bury my child.
This morning, it's gone.
And they just destroyed it all. Not one day, but 2 days.
She says other memorials in the area have been left untouched. Levita believes her son's death is being treated differently because Jamil is the brother of DJ Pettigrew, the suspect in a May shooting in Fort Dodge.
Or my son being involved with something and that happened to be his brother, they just disregarded my kid. They may have the same last name and they may have the same bloodline, but that doesn't mean that they're both bad kids.
Police in Fort Dodge are searching for a teenager they say shot 2 people, killing one last night. 17-year-old Devonquay Pettigrew is now wanted on first-degree murder charges.
Investigators are asking anyone who knows where he is to come forward. KCCI's Bo Bowman has been following this investigation.
Second teenager shot and killed here in Fort Dodge so far this month. Fort Dodge police say it's frustrating and it'll take the
Hey DJ Memphis
coming together to put an end to it. You can see the heartbreak among Adrian Grover's friends and families in the flowers and stuffed animals set up here, where the 18-year-old was shot and killed Saturday morning.
This can't be just solved by a police department.
Fort Dodge Police Chief Dennis Quinn says it's not a problem unique to the city, but it is growing.
Seeing things like this when it happens at all is terrible. But when it starts to involve youth, you see the impact that it has on families and community.
Police have already arrested 18-year-old Quantarius Altman, charged in the killing of Grover. But they still haven't caught 17-year-old Devonquay Pettigrew, the teen Fort Dodge police say killed 18-year-old Patrick Walker less than 2 weeks ago.
Who was it to blame, family? The parents or the kids? We have a mother that lost both of her kids in the span of 30 days. One in jail and one in gun violence. Now it seems the younger brother had lost his life in retaliation due to actions that the older brother did that we'll later discuss. Which leads to the first question. Who need to be held responsible the most? The parents or the kids? Despite may not never having a concrete answer, what we do know is all actions have reactions. And unfortunately, according to authorities, the oldest brother's actions led to his little brother losing his life. So,
do you see the hate that is going on now? Whoever the assailants were that unlived this young man, they did it to get back or to retaliate against the big brother. This little brother had nothing to do with what the big brother did. But the hate, the dislike, the passion of getting even or making a point, and the bitterness, it causes reactions like this. ladies and gentlemen, you have to be careful at the seeds that you sow, because you never know how it may not affect you, but it may affect your bloodline. It may affect the people that you hold dear around you. This young man hasn't even had a chance to live his life. And because of his big brother's actions, the other person with the hate in their heart wanted to get even, wanted to destroy someone else's life because of his hate for someone else.
Before we break this one down, remember, family, I won't give you no angle. I just give you the story. So with that being said, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. We're going to jump right to it. Family, today we're going to Fort Dodge, Iowa. Almost 3 months ago, police were searching for a 17-year-old murder suspect following a shooting in Fort Dodge Tuesday night that took the life of one person. The Fort Dodge Police Department said an arrest warrant on one charge of first-degree M1 has been issued for Daquan Jason Pettigrew, who is also known as DJ. He was described as 5'8", weighed about 130 pounds. Police say he was considered armed and dangerous. The charge stemmed from a shooting that happened at around 7:10 p.m. It was a Tuesday. That's when multiple 911 calls came in about shots fired in the area of the 100 block of North 10th Street. When police got to the scene, officers arrived and found an unresponsive male on the sidewalk in front of 126 North 10th Street. Though life-saving measures were started, immediately the victim had passed away, may he rest in peace. He was later identified as an 18-year-old man that go by the name of Patrick Walker of Fort Dodge. While investigators were processing the scene, 20-year-old Silas Hall showed up to Unity Point Trinity Regional Hospital with a gunshot wound. Police say his injuries do not appear to be life-threatening. He was only 17, but during the investigation, police were able to identify Pettigrew as the suspect in the shooting. Because the charge of first-degree M1 is a forcible felony, Pettigrew is automatically charged as an adult in the case.
In Fort Dodge are searching for a teenager they say shot 2 people, killing one last night. 17-year-old Devonquay Pettigrew is now wanted on first-degree murder charges.
Investigators are asking anyone who knows where he is to come forward. KCCI's Bo Bowman has been following this investigation, and Bo, community leaders there say something needs to change.
That's right, Eric. Both the chief of police and the executive director of athletics for education and success in Fort Dodge say this is a trend they only see going up and need to get the guns out of kids' hands.
It's kind of a punch in the stomach. It takes a little bit of air out of you, takes a little bit of wind out of you.
That's how Charles Clayton says he felt when he heard of the shooting Tuesday night in downtown Fort Dodge, where police say 18-year-old Patrick Walker was killed and 20-year-old Silas Hall took a bullet to the leg. Clayton is the founder of Athletics for Education and Success, a group dedicated to creating resources, activities, and sports programs for at-risk youth.
We got to find a way to keep the youth entertained, active, busy.
He says he knew all 3 that were involved in the shooting, but they were never part of his program.
Makes me think and wake up at night and not sleep is how can I get more kids involved? How can we get more of them through the doors and active and doing something positive?
Quite a bit of this kind of violence, unfortunately, with juveniles, and that that age range can range just about anywhere right now.
Fort Dodge Police Chief Dennis Quinn says they're still searching for the shooter. An arrest warrant has been issued for 17-year-old Devonquay Pettigrew for first-degree murder.
Even if you're not related, if you have a good heart, you're going to feel the same.
Anthony Shivers is here visiting his nephew, the surviving victim who lives in the apartment building near the crime scene. He says there needs to be more done to reach out to the youth in Fort Dodge.
We just need to start educating our kids a little bit more about violence and, and all these bad things that's going on.
Police say Pettigrew should be considered armed and dangerous. If you know where he might be, they ask you to contact the Fort Dodge Police Department.
Pettigrew was later apprehended weeks later. But weeks after that, Fort Dodge police believe the shooting death of a 15-year-old on the 4th of July was a case of retaliation. The first suspect, little brother, Jamil Pettigrew of Fort Dodge, life was taken Tuesday in the latest act of violence in the Webster County town of about 25,000 people. The suspect was later identified as JJ, Jamarian James Davis. He was charged with first-degree M1. Davis was arrested Thursday in Fort Dodge. Now, according to authorities, the guy who lost his life in May by Pettigrew's older brother is a close friend to Davis. Davis found out who Pettigrew's little brother was and took matters into his own hands.
See, this is hate starts very little. Like you go into really disliking a person to the point to the thought of them makes you cringe. The thought of them makes you want to find them and retaliate or do something to them. See, hate starts very small. It comes with a dislike first, and then the anger, the resentment, and the bitterness, it gets stronger and stronger to the point to, if you see them, you want to take their life, or you feel like you could do something very detrimental to them. That's how hate starts. It starts with a dislike, such a dislike to where it builds up the bitterness and the resentment, just the thought of them. And that's why sometimes you have to recognize what you're feeling before it gets to a point to hate. Now, I'm not going to lie to you. There is some people that I hate their behavior, but I don't want to get to the point to where I hate them as a person. Because if I hate them as a person, then that feeling of wanting to do some harm to them takes place. And sometimes it comes so strong, you will lose your common sense. Nobody is worth going to prison for. There has been incidents where maybe some of us have gotten very close to taking it there, or very close to hurting someone in a physical way. But you have to learn, first of all, you have to identify what you're feeling. Because hate can sneak up on you and you don't even realize it's already in your heart. This is what young men and women have not been taught in homes, because a lot of times their parents can't teach them in homes about self-control, your emotions, how to use them effectively. It all goes back to being emotional intelligence, and most people don't know what emotional intelligence is. It's about recognizing your emotions, how to deal with them properly, what to do when you're feeling angry, and that is appropriate instead of doing something that is inappropriate. All of this has to do with people being emotional intelligence. And unfortunately, in a lot of homes, we have not been taught that, because our parents don't know that. They'll just tell you, for the most part, don't always react fast, impulsively. Think before you do stuff. That's the most of what most of us have learned. But just think about some kids that have never had that taught. Some parents have not been a parent enough to teach their kids don't always react impulsively. They have been taught, well, if somebody do it to you, do it to them. That's what they've been taught. That's not always the best method. You find out a lot of people end up either dead or in prison because of that thinking behavior.
It's been horrible. It's been hell.
Lavita Pettigrew's son, Jamil, was shot and killed on the 4th of July on his way home from being with friends. It's the 4th teenager killed in Fort Dodge since the beginning of May.
He should be burying me. I shouldn't have to bury my child.
Every day since his death, family and friends have put together a memorial for Jamil where he was murdered. but each morning it's gone.
And they just destroyed it all. Not one day, but 2 days.
She says other memorials in the area have been left untouched. KCCI found out it was the city that was removing the memorial. We asked why.
It has everything to do with location. The fact that there was memorials attached to a stop sign, the fact that it is in the right of way, right next to a busy intersection, made it a hazard.
Levita believes her son's death is being treated differently because Jamil is the brother of DJ Pettigrew, the suspect in a May shooting in Fort Dodge.
My son being involved with something and that happened to be his brother, they just disregarded my kid. They may have the same last name and they may have the same bloodline, but that doesn't mean that they're both bad kids.
The city.
Right. So unfortunately, we have stories like this because these are inner city kids. And the lack of sometimes discipline, the lack of self-awareness, the lack of love, and it might not just be love, but just ignorance, the lack of fathers being in the home, poverty, people being in poverty. And it's just like, it's so many things. Most kids sell drugs in the community because of lack of money. They don't do it because they like to do it. They need the money and they need it fast. And they get into this type of lifestyle. And I believe Kevlo was talking about that on the interview we had Thursday. You get into that lifestyle because you need the money and you need it fast because you have responsibilities to take care of. Some of these kids are having kids. So they feel like, hey, this is the only way that I can get things done and get the money that I need, like right now, not in 2 weeks. I need the money now. So this is why a lot of the inner city kids get into this type of behavior. I'm gonna go to another story because I just want to show you. It's not like you guys don't know. You can sense it in our environment, how people hate on other people, how they act with each other, how they drive. People drive with hate. I don't know if y'all knew that or not. They cut you off. Road rage is out of control. You better not cut nobody off. Somebody is going to get on the side of your car and pull out their gun. And most of the time, they will threaten to shoot you if they don't shoot you already. There's a lot of traumatized children that are traumatized, I would say, adults. But I'm kind of like Gartrell and Cheeky. You put your hands on me, I'm fighting. Now, I ain't trying to kill nobody unless I have to, take out my piece and kill somebody, like for self-defense. But my thing is more, I'm trying to beat your, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's my thing. Don't put your hands on me. Self-defense is another thing, but just because you don't like somebody is two total different things. And you just can't do that just because you hate or don't like someone, rather. I'm going to share this story with you.
Used for surveying, and I was talking to a coworker, and I heard pop, 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 like 5 or 6 rounds go off. And I realized it was a gun, and I told him, I said, duck and cover.
Yeah, so right now we have one deceased victim inside the Home Depot, and we have one suspect in custody en route to the sheriff's office.
The mother of the suspect, Keith Agee, now charged with principal to first-degree murder, accused of helping coordinate the killing of 18-year-old Brooklyn Sims. Authorities say that killing was planned, and they have the text messages to prove it.
If you don't come kill her, you expletive. Another reads, quote, I'll give you the address here, meaning Pensacola, and you can ride over here and do it so you don't have to do it in front of your daughter. She tells her son not to tell someone named Nanny who would talk him out of it. The apparent plan? To get Sims in Sheila Agee's car. The text reads, "Don't shoot at my expletive car. I don't want to die." "Wait till I put her out," she wrote. She tells her son she doesn't care what he does, just quote, "Don't shoot me." The messages continue with each telling one another to delete the text, with Sheila saying, "Hold up, let me get it, erase the text, because I don't want nobody to know I was texting you, stupid expletive."
Fam, I can't make this type of stuff up, man. But you mean to tell me it's mothers out here encouraging their kid to take the life of another individual who happened to be the mother of their granddaughter? And on top of that, you encourage your son to do such heinous crime. And then you insult him, calling him out his name while informing him to do so. And yet, all this is coming from the person who gave you birth. Let's be real, family. I don't know if this young man had a chance out the gate, but I have yet to mention the fact that the mother goes to the balloon release hours before she would be arrested, evidently putting on a show as if she had sympathy for the victim. When not only the family know your son is the suspect, but even worse, you encourage the suspect. And let's be real, family. As my grandmother will always say, you have to be dumb as a box of rocks to do such act in a department store full of cameras, broad daylight, and not to think everyone involved is not getting caught. No person with a decent mind would do such thing, I would hope. But that's where we at in today's video, family. And I'm here to break down the facts, the parties involved, according to the public fact. But most of all, pay our respects. But first, I want you guys to remember, I don't give you no angle. I just give you the story. So with that being said, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. And we're going to jump right to it. We're going to start this one a little different, family. Do me a favor and look at this video. No audio, just a clip of the balloon release. It's about 8 seconds, but I put it in slow motion. I would like to pose a question to you guys. Do something to go off in this video. And just to be clear, this is coverage from the news. And as we watch this clip, once again, I want you guys to look at the person who's purposely avoiding the camera. But before I explain,
Now, who do you think this person here that is avoiding the camera? Now, she had so much hate to do what she did. But what I see as the camera is focusing on the visual, here, you see this arrow? She has her back turned from the camera that is focusing on this memorial that they're about to do for the young lady that was killed. This is what guiltiness looks like. This is what shame looks like. This is at a memorial, a balloon release celebration for this young lady's life. She didn't even get to live to see, her 20th, well, I would say 25th, because that's usually like the prime, time in your life, you're, 25. Or what about seeing her child go to kindergarten?
expose who this woman is. Look as she hold her granddaughter, who happens to be the victim's daughter. But sadly, that woman happens to have her hands in the victim losing her life, and just so happened to be the mother of the suspect as well. This is a photo taken at the balloon release. Her name is Sheila Age, 50 years old. On August 11, 2023, in Escambia County, Florida, a female employee at the Home Depot on Davidson Highway in Escambia County was shot and came to her demise on that Friday afternoon inside the store, according to a sheriff. Now, at the time, the victim's identity wasn't released, but a suspect was immediately arrested and information was given to the public. 20 years old, Keith Age, the son of Sheila Age. Now, the connection with the suspect wasn't clear at this moment, but we did know that it happened at around 1:30 p.m. and a 911 call came from a co-worker inside the Home Depot when she heard shots inside her job.
I I came back from a lunch break. I went behind the counter to go pick up my trusty iPad I use for surveying. And I was talking to a coworker and I heard pop, 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 like 5 or 6 rounds go off. And I realized it was a gun. And I told him, I said, duck and cover. And I went right up underneath the counter, back behind the main counter. And I was sat there Indian style and I called 911. I spoke with the nice lady. She told me to stay on the line. I gave her all the information I could, told her where the shooting occurred. I didn't see it. I just heard it, and I realized it was an active shooter. And then I was talking to her, giving her the exact location of where we were, telling her about aisle 3 and the entrance. And then I heard someone was hurt, and I said, also, please send paramedics. And I stayed with her on the line until the police arrived and told us to evacuate.
I know you're still processing. It just happened maybe an hour ago.
Roughly within the last 45 minutes.
Have you had it? Did you check to see some of your other friends if they were okay? Or
they pretty much ran for it from what I could see. I stayed in, out of sight, out of mind. Usually if you run from an active shooter, it's more of a target for them. So you want to duck and cover. I just called 911. I was very calm, very collected. Gave the operator all the information that I knew. She was very helpful, very kind and compassionate, and just told me to stay on the line until deputies arrived. And then they swarmed the place. And apparently someone gave a very good description. They were found. They have the suspect in custody. And I don't know how many people were injured. I heard just one died. And then while I was outside with my fellow employees, there was EMS called. I guess someone passed out. Yeah.
What do you? I hate to ask this, but what do you think? I mean, like, have you even had a chance to think about just a normal day at work?
You know, the thing is this is happening more and more often. I mean, you see stuff like this on the news and you don't ever think, hey, it's going to happen to me. But I'm very happy that I was here today. I was feeling kind of sick this morning. I came to work anyways, and I'm glad I was here because I felt like making that 911 phone call really, my boss said saved a few lives. So, yeah, but I'm still going back to work. So,
Forgive me.
So she says that it happens more often. And isn't that unfortunate that people are walking around every day and they have no idea how much hate that they have in their heart. I constantly have to check myself because I tell you, dealing with people can make you hate people. It really can. Because you're dealing with, like I said last night, you're dealing with a lot of uncouth, a lot of people that have no accountability for themselves, but they have accountability. They want to hold everybody else accountable for everything. And it infuriates me. It irritates me that it's people that always have the finger pointing at other people, and they are doing the exact same thing they're accusing other people for. That irritates me so much that I have to make sure that I deal with what I'm feeling and try to get rid of that feeling of dislike, that strong dislike. Because like I said, hate can sneak up on you and you lose focus on not to hate the person, but to hate the behavior. It's a lot of people that have unchecked hate in their heart. And that's why you have situations like this. Why would their mother encourage her son to kill his child's mother? What was in her? What was so much in him that they felt like that was okay? They had the audacity to take someone's life for whatever reason. This lady was not a threat to the mother or the son. But the fact that this woman, this mother, maybe had reasons on why she maybe didn't want that child around the mother or him, the father, could have been valid reasons. It's not always the baby mama is just being evil. She could have seen something in these two that may have been a toxic environment for that child. And as we see, what happened? They had so much hate within themselves. They had no morals, no type of moral compass to do what is right, that they end up taking it into their hands to take another human being's life. This doesn't make sense to me.
Me family. I'm thankful she called 911 in that instant, but I don't know what's funny at the end. But the victim turned out to be a contractor for Home Depot. She went by the name 18-year-old Brooklyn Sims, a mother of a 2-year-old young girl. May she rest in peace. And
Hey,
condolences
CKJ.
to her family. Now it seems this wasn't the first time she was shot by her baby father, who happens to
Hey,
be the
Curtis,
suspect.
how are
Now,
you?
Keith
Good to
allegedly
see
had
you.
shot Brooklyn once before. She survived. She went through the court process to get help, which could possibly be a motive for the situation as well.
I felt like I let my sister down, like I couldn't protect my little sister. And it's crazy because tomorrow my birthday. So it was just like, it's a lot. It's a lot to deal with.
Big brother Breland Carter wishes he could have stopped the bullets that ended her life
Hey,
while she was
Denise.
working Friday. He's now focused on the 2-year-old daughter his sister leaves behind, little Casey.
Look, Casey, look. Took the chance away from my niece to know her mother and know how amazing of a person she was.
We're told it was the toddler's father, Keith Agee, who shot and killed her young mother. A friend and coworker who was grazed by a bullet during the shooting says there were undertones of domestic violence between the couple.
The first time he did it, it was never okay. So, I mean, I wish things would have went differently. I wish maybe he could have got some type of help and things wouldn't have went this far. I wish it just could have not went this far because now it's just senseless.
Family members also knew of the pair's troubles.
When it first occurred, I was aware, and then there was a hiatus, so to speak, because she took him to court, did the steps she had to take to make sure he was out of her way, and somehow or another, this ended up being the result of everything that's going on. How he was even out to be able to do something like this, I don't know. In my opinion, I feel like it was if I can't have you, no one can have you. Because the last time I talked to my sister, she just wanted to be a good mother, raise her daughter. She was looking to start her job, get her an apartment.
While Brooklyn Sims may be gone, her brother tells us her spirit lives on in the little girl she leaves behind.
When we gathered after it happened and everybody was there and she didn't see her mom, she knew. But one thing about my
To answer your question, Gary, I believe he was saying that they've had issues before. Like the young lady said, they had issues before with domestic violence. He was very volatile. So that kind of nature that I can't have you, if I can't have you, nobody else can't have you, that type of attitude. And then whatever his background was, which we know it was jacked up because you see what his mother and him did. So he's already came from a very toxic upbringing, and he don't even know how to control himself control his emotions. So when he gets in arguments with people, all he wants to do is get violent because that's all he knows. So I believe they had a volatile relationship where it was, a lot of physical fighting. But I'm going to go back a little bit to make sure that I heard that correctly as well. Okay.
Because she took him to court, did the steps she had to take to make sure he was out of her way, and somehow or another, this ended up being the result of everything that's going on. How he was even out to be able to do something like this, I don't know. In my opinion, I feel like it was if I can't have you, no one can have you. Because the last time I talked to my sister, She just wanted to be a good mother, raise her daughter. She was looking to start her job, get her an apartment.
While Brooklyn Sims may be gone, her brother tells us her spirit lives on in the little girl she leaves behind.
When we gathered after it happened and everybody was there and she didn't see her mom, she knew. But one thing about my niece, she a splitting image of my sister. So seeing her laugh and smile, it's a big help. It's a big help. It won't bring my sister back, but it helped me cope.
Now, when Keith was arrested that Friday, more information came out to the authorities after they conducted a search through his phone. They later confirmed this suspicion that they noticed at the candlelight. Sheila Age was arrested after the conversation between her and her son was revealed to authorities.
The mother of the suspect, Keith Agee, now charged with principal to first-degree murder, accused of helping coordinate the killing of 18-year-old Brooklyn Sims. Authorities say that killing was planned, and they have the text messages to prove it.
WEAR News' Sarah Gale shares those text messages that were released by the Escambia County Sheriff's Office.
The Escambia County Sheriff's Office says Keith Agee walked into the Home Depot on Davis Highway and shot and killed 18-year-old Brooklyn Sims Friday afternoon. The two shared a 2-year-old daughter. Investigators say this was a planned killing and point directly to texts between Agee and his mother, Sheila Agee, shortly before the shooting. We're learning Sheila Agee drove Sims to work in Pensacola last Friday and was communicating with her son after dropping her off. Keith Agee said he was going to kill Sims. Agee telling his mother in a text, "I can't take it," expletive, no mo. According to Sims' family members, the two had been involved in a rocky relationship. Sheila Agee appeared to egg on her son. One text says, quote, "If you don't come kill her, you expletive." Another reads, quote, "I'll give you the address here," meaning Pensacola, "and you can ride over here and do it so you don't have to do it in front of your daughter." She tells her son not to tell someone named Nanny who would talk him out of it. The apparent plan? To get Sims in Sheila Agee's car. The text reads, "Don't shoot at my expletive car. I don't want to die." "Wait till I put her out," she wrote. She tells her son she doesn't care what he does, just, quote, "Don't shoot me." The messages continue with each telling one another to delete the text, with Sheila saying, "Hold up, let me get it, erase the text, because I don't want nobody to know I was texting you, stupid expletive." But deputies were still able to recover and share some of them. It turns out Sims was still inside the Home Depot. That's when deputies say Keith Agee walked in and shot Sims. Sheila Agee is now awaiting extradition to Escambia County, where she's being charged with principal to first-degree murder.
And the next day, Sheila Age had her first court appearance. She would ask the judge, and more will be revealed to the public.
Okay, Mr. Gee, this is one charge of homicide. We'll try to have an attorney if you want to help you.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Jack Wilkins from Mr. Gee, and I'm assisting Mr. Ravi. He's unavailable for today, so I'm covering her first appearance. Presently, Your Honor, I believe she is before the court on a no bond on principal to premeditated first-degree murder.
Yes.
Would ask that bond be addressed, Your Honor.
Okay. All right, Mr. Myers.
Look at her. She is looking like she's confused, like she has no idea why she is there. Look at how black her eyes are. See, a lot of times, if you look at people, some people can't hide the hate in that's in their heart because they wear it. They wear it. You can sometimes interact with certain people, and you can, and I used to hate when people say, you got to feel their energy and all that kind of stuff. Because I'm like, some of these folks got some bad energy. I always talk about energy. But sometimes you can feel things on people when you meet people. You don't even have to have a full conversation with them. Their countenance the outside appearance sometimes can tell you a lot. Their facial expressions, their eyes. You remember that saying, the eyes are the window of the soul? When you see eyes that are black, they seem like they're not present in a conversation with you, or they're zoned out. When they have frowns, some people don't even know they have frowns. That's not always hate, stemming hate or a negative, someone having a negative spirit. Sometimes a person is not aware. They could be thinking. But sometimes you can sense on a person their countenance, if they are abrasive, or if they are hateful, you can feel it. I don't know if you guys can feel that, but sometimes I can. And looking at her face, it's like a face of confusion, but if you really look hard enough, you can see some bitterness in her, some type of disdain for life, for people. You can sense certain things about people if you actually pay attention. But most people won't pay attention. They don't pay attention to their spirit when they're around people, when they're dealing with people. Now, some people hide their hate pretty good, but you can't hide it for long, because it always comes out in one way or the other.
I mean, you read the report. This was a warrant where the judge issuing the warrant issued no bond. She's not entitled to a bond. She's from Alabama. This is a capital offense.
Yeah, gotcha.
You have read the report. This is a serious offense with significant evidence. It's a mandatory life sentence if she's convicted. It'll obviously be taken before a grand jury. And we ask that in the meantime it remains out of no bond.
Mr. Work, was anything else on this?
Yes, sir, Your Honor. As far as the evidence is concerned, Mr. Myers is correct. This is a capital offense that was allegedly perpetrated by her son, and she is a principal to the alleged incident. The majority of the evidence that the court has reviewed is text messages that were taken out of context. And Your Honor, to my knowledge, she has little or no prior criminal history that would support such a charge, notwithstanding the fact that
it's not
the
funny.
state is correct that she's not entitled as a matter of right for a bond. However, the first appearance judge can still issue a bond, would be asking for a $250,000 bond, cash or professional, Your Honor, with a monitor should the court.
Curtis, I'm not laughing at you, but when you said my beautiful face and chest, that was kind of funny. I'm so sorry. But I'm so glad that you are here, that nothing happened to you, that you were protected, even though you were robbed. The fact that you're still here is a blessing. So thank God for that.
Require one, notwithstanding the fact that she is in Alabama as her residence, she can be made to find lodging here in this jurisdiction, Your Honor. So again, we would be requesting $250,000 cash professional bond, and with monitor and pretrial services to monitor her activities while she's in Escambia County.
I think, sir, at this time, the bond will remain a no bond. You'll be ordered to have no contact with any witnesses in the case. Is it 8 September, Madam Clerk?
Yes, sir.
All right, ma'am, your next court date is 8 September, okay?
Your Honor, also in addition, can we get the court order no contact with the victims? We have 2 other individuals that were shot or their family.
No contact with witnesses, no contact with victims or families.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Yes, sir.
And Your Honor, to make sure, I'm not sure if I made the record clear, I'm appearing on behalf of Mr. Raby, who is going to be the counsel of record.
Yes, thanks, sir.
Ready to excuse?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, pleasant days.
Yes, you too.
Thank you.
Now, as you can see, The judge decided not to give her bond, rightfully so, based on the information provided thus far. She had just as much of a hand as the person who pulled the trigger, if not more. First and foremost, as we wrap it up, once again, rest in peace to Brooklyn. Loving condolences to her family. That was the story of a mother who encouraged her son to take the life of her granddaughter mother, all while showing up to the balloon release only a day after. Let me know how you guys feel about this one in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Until then,
And shout out to the Family TV. Please make sure you subscribe to them. They bring a lot of excellent stories. Some we have not ever heard of on our local news. So it's just really good to hear what's going on. Because I'm gonna be honest with you, I really don't like looking at the news. To be honest with you, it's so disheartening. But at the same time, you sometimes do need to know what's going on. And see, was it Young Riaz said, the more we sin, we show and show hatred, our hearts turns black spiritually. We lose certain feelings. Basically, true, and that's very true. When you are spiritually lost, you have no foundation, you have no compass on what is right and what is definitely wrong. You continue to deal with the emotions, because guess what, emotions are universal, but some emotions are very toxic, to the point to, if you don't deal with them, hey Magruder, and you really allow them to take so much of your soul to where it's like you're overwhelmed with resentment and bitterness and malice in your heart, it will manifest to hate, and it will come so strong on you, you're not aware of it, and you're walking around with it. And when you're walking around with it, you're giving it out to people, and you're not even aware how much you're giving it out to people. It's in your speech, how you deal with people, how you talk to people. It comes out. Whatever is in you is going to come out. That's life. Whatever is in you is going to come out. And right, Curtis, this generation, and even our generation, I'm considered a millennials, Generation X, and baby boomers. We all have done a poor job with the generation below us, because it seems like even though some of this generation Z is very smart with technology, they're missing a lot of structure. They're missing a lot of having moral standards. They're missing a lot of common sense. So when you lack all those things, you are very dysfunctional and ignorant and unaware, self-aware of yourself and other people. You lack a lot of empathy and sympathy. You lack a lot of self-control on how to deal with your emotions when you feel like you about to or I would say hate someone. You dislike a certain person so much, you want to take a very detrimental action to end someone's life, to destroy someone, to the point that you want them off of this earth. See, even though this Generation Z is very intelligent when it comes to technology and very intelligent in other things, the foundation, the morals is lost in a lot of youth today, because we, in some ways, not all of us, but some of the parents and some of the mentors, some of the people that could be potential mentors, have let our youth down. It takes a village to raise children, and we have lost our village. You can't say nothing to nobody's kids anymore because people get offended. I don't know if you guys remember a few months ago, when I was in Walmart and I was telling you about these kids playing with the ball. And I told the kids very nicely, babies, y'all need to watch out and not be playing in the store. I said, because you could hit somebody with that ball. The mother got upset with me and told me, don't say nothing to our kids. I said, I'll say something to your kids if your kids hit me with that ball. And I'll say something to you. But she got very offended, and I was very nice with those kids. I was firm, but I was nice. I didn't tell them, you need to get your ass and go stand over there by your mom and put that damn ball down, like I wanted to tell them. That's what I want to say. Go get your black ass over there. That's what I wanted to say. I said, babies, y'all need to be careful. Y'all could hit somebody with that ball. The mother instantly got upset with me. The mother was young. She looked like she could have been a millennial. So you are a millennial. That's basically, I believe, from 1981 to 1990, I believe that are millennials. They're considered millennials. So you have childlike minded people that are supposed to be adults having children. See, this is where you have so many undisciplined people. And when you're undisciplined and you don't have no self-control, you allow your emotions to take control of you. I can't afford to allow hate to take over my heart. I got too much stuff I got to do. Number one, I don't want, hate can really take away from you and the way your countenance. It can even age you. A lot of people are not aware of it. Hate can age you. You see some young, old people. You'll find out, you'll see a 30-year-old looking like a 60-year-old. They got some unchecked hate. Now, some people don't know how to get rid of hate. And it ain't simple. I'm going to tell you that. First of all, you have to recognize that you actually hate somebody. Once you recognize that you actually hate somebody, you have to go into what are the steps to get beyond the hate. Number one, you have to recognize, do you hate the person or do you hate the behavior? Now, some people say, well, I hate the person, but you have to separate the person from, their behavior. Most people that do hateful things to other people, they have been hurt tremendously from their youth. They have had some things to happen to them. If we go back in a time machine to actually observe a person and what they had to deal with, and understand, this is not giving an excuse to the person that you hate, but it gives you an understanding on the reason why they are the way they are. Now, everybody has a choice to be what they hate or do the opposite. But if you have more of an understanding, it helps you to separate their behavior from the person, if that makes sense. Because I don't want to make excuses for anybody's behavior. If I don't do it for myself, I'm definitely not going to do it for somebody else. So you have to know the difference of the behavior and the person, themselves. So once you figure that out, the behavior that you hate, you can start to learn to see if you can go into forgiveness. Now, people say, I ain't forgiving a person. Forget that person. F them for life. Forgiveness doesn't mean you accept their behavior, that you're going to accept them into your life again. that you even want to deal with them. That's not what forgiveness is. Forgiveness is basically saying, I see this person's behavior. Do I accept this person's behavior? No. But I understand that if I don't learn to forgive a person, I won't be able to live my best life, because I will be imprisoned by this person because of my hate and unforgiveness. Forgiveness is just saying, I recognize I dislike this person's behavior. I may even, not want to be around. Hey, Thug Life, I may not even want to be around this person, but I'm not going to allow my unforgiveness to have me in bondage over a person. And it's just basically letting go of ill feelings that you have. Just saying, I'm not going to hate a person. I'm not going to, I'm going to really try not to think bad thoughts for a person. I'm going to let go of this anger that I feel for this person. And that is a everyday process. This is not something that happens overnight. If it happens overnight for you, then you're closer than Jesus than I am. Because I'm just, it takes me a minute. Because I still have a lot of things on the inside of me that I'm telling you, don't let people's how they look fool you. That's all I'm gonna say. We all deal with something, and we all deal with some things, and we all have to deal with them and face them. The hardest thing is to forgive people, because we thinking if we forgive them, they taking something from us. They making us feel like a punk, or making us, they don't deserve it. Most of the time they don't. But sometimes you've done something to somebody too, and you want somebody to forgive you. You want somebody to let go of their ill feelings sometimes for you. You can't ask for something that you're not giving someone else. Unfortunately, it just don't work that way. If you want grace and mercy, you got to give it to other people, regardless if they deserve it or not. And let's just be honest, most people don't deserve it, but neither do we. You got to get beyond the person and see their behavior. There's a reason why a person is so hateful. They haven't been taught to love, and they haven't had it. Does it make it? Am I giving them an excuse? Hell no. I believe some people have some really trash behavior that if I didn't have any type of moral compass to me, I would say they need to be banished from the earth. Like child molesters and serial killers, people like that. But I got to understand too, I'm not nobody's judge. That's why a lot of people that be trying to hold other people accountable, hold your own damn self accountable, because you got some raggedy ass behavior as well. Don't tell me about my behavior and hold me accountable for nothing when your ass is trash or you have trashy behavior. The audacity of people to hold other people accountable when they struggle with the same thing or worse. So that's what I'm trying to explain to you about forgiveness. It's basically not saying, hey, I excuse their behavior. I want to be around them. I want to accept them back into my life. That's not it. Forgiveness is saying I'm letting go of resentment and hatred. And sometimes, like I said, that is an everyday process. And if you're not going to do that, hate is sneaking up on you so much to where you breathe it and you pass it on to other people. Now, if you don't care, then hey, to each his own. But I'm going to refuse to allow it to take over me. It's a fight. It ain't easy, But I'm going to refuse to let it take over me because, like I said, hate makes you look older. Hate makes you miss out on great opportunities and great people. Hate makes you lose years of your life when you could be enjoying it. Hate just makes you a terrible person. And the one thing that we don't do, that we need to go by what our grandparents or some older people have taught us, the golden rule. Treat people the way you want to be treated. It doesn't take much to be nice to people sometimes. But for some of us, it's like moving a mountain just to be nice to somebody. Some people dealing with so much hate, you start walking down the street, you say hello to somebody, you give them a smile. They looking at you like, why you smiling at me, nigga? Why you smiling at me, ho? That's how they look at you. You see how people treat each other on the internet. You don't know this person from a can of paint, but you got so much to say. Calling them all types of names, saying all types of things about them. And you do it so freely. And then your excuse, well, they did it to me. They coming for me. And not one time have you heard, you just go speculating, you saying subliminals, this person talking about me and that person ain't thinking about you. Don't want you around them. But you got so much hate in you, you spew it out just like it's like you drinking water. See, hate sneaks on people and they're not aware of it. But everybody that is, I would say, awake, everybody that is spiritually awake, everybody that is self-aware of themselves and other people, they can see it. They can feel it. But those that are good with it, those that don't see it and that are blind to it, they're good with it because it's what's within you, right? It's what's within you that you feel comfortable with. If you feel comfortable with people saying hateful things and doing hateful things to other people, that's what's inside of you. So you're going to be comfortable with it. But when it's not inside of you, you're not comfortable with it. You're not okay with someone, whether it's you or somebody else, being treated a certain kind of way. So you have to get your emotions in check. You have to recognize where you are. And I don't care if people are 50, 60, 30, 40, 20. None of us are exempt from being hateful. We all have experienced some type of hurt from somebody that we trusted, somebody we loved hurt us, somebody that we deemed to respect let us down. Hate comes from hurt feelings. You know that saying, it's a thin line between love and hate? Thank you, Thug. I appreciate it. It is a thin line between love and hate. That's why you have to constantly keep yourself in check. That's why I said, can't nobody on this app especially hold me accountable for nothing. When you deal with your stuff and you deal with the hate in your heart and the unforgiveness in your heart, then you can tell me about mine. But see, that's why I keep myself in check, because I was that close to being hateful and hating people, because I allowed sometimes some of my hurt feelings to fester. And when you let stuff fester on the inside of you, it's going to come out. That's why I had to deal with this stuff. That's why I had to ask my Heavenly Father to help me to forgive people every day. If you don't, it will fester. It will take over your soul. It will make you hateful, and you don't even know how hateful you are. That's how hate sneaks upon you. All I'm saying, people, none of us are exempt from it. If you have no hate in your heart, if you've never had any hate in your heart, you need to walk on water, because you are a lot better than me. I have dealt with some things personally that made me feel like I could have hated somebody or somebody's. So that's why I constantly check myself. I constantly pray to let go of my bitter feelings. This is a constant behavior that I have to do to keep myself in the right frame of mind, in the right heart. Hate is very real. We see hate stems in a lot of different things that goes on to the world, in the world. Racism stems from hate. Classism, sexism stands from hate. Colorism stands from hate. Sometimes self-hate. A lot of things that goes on into this world. Okay, you said Islamophobia? Okay, yeah. People that hate religion, that right there, not all religion is bad. Now, some religion, like I said, is meant to separate people. So I understand people don't like the separation. But hating something when you don't know something about something, when you're ignorant of something, that's not the way to think about things. Sometimes you have to get to know or study things or get to know people so that you don't hate and you're not ignorant of one's belief system. But people will hate what you believe because it's not what they believe. You will have people to hate you on the fact that you say, I'm a Muslim. You will have people to hate you because they hate religion, because you say, I'm a believer of Christ. There's so much hate going on in the world because people are either they don't want to understand or they're ignorant of it. There's people that hate people that have an alternative lifestyle. Just because you don't agree with something, it doesn't mean you should hate it. I have met some of the most nicest people that live alternative lifestyles. That doesn't take away from who they are as a person. Do I agree with a lot of things? No. And I have that right. Just like they have the right to choose what they want to be. Sometimes people hate out of ignorance. And sometimes people just hate because they are hateful to the core. This type of lives don't get 100 people. Had I been talking about someone and specifically going in on people, talking about how much, again, I can't stand them and I hate them, I would have so many people in the chat. But unfortunately, that's not the content creator that I am. Sometimes I wish I was, but that's not who I am. What is the opposite from hate? Of course, it would be love. Again, from the dictionary, an intensive feeling of deep affection. Deep affection. So just like hate has a very strong dislike for a person or dislike for a thing, love is the intense feeling of deep affection. That's what we're missing out, guys, on. We're missing out on love. But the fact of the matter is, most people don't know what love is. They haven't even experienced what love is. They never seen it. How can you love something, or how do you know what love is when you never have had the opportunity to receive it? How do you know? Most of us get it from our parents or somebody in our family that took the time to take care of us, if we were blessed enough to have it. But what about the people that never experience? Hate is easy. Love is not. At least not to me. Because love is actually looking beyond the person's faults and saying, regardless of your faults, regardless of your bad behavior, I love you because you are human, right? It's not easy. I sometimes used to read, and I read a lot of different type of material. I read a lot of different books. But one thing, because of my core beliefs, I have to always go back to the scripture, what we believe that is inspiring God's word. For some people, it's the white man's book, and some people it's a lie, a fairy tale, a color book. It's different things for different people. But one thing I can say about the Bible, regardless if you believe it or not, there are some things in there that are very valuable. And to the point to where there's so many great lessons in it, to where you can use it for your own life. I often think of the scripture that I used to try to comprehend because it seems so difficult for me to understand. Love is patient. You got to actually be patient with people that are irritating to you. Love is kind. That's like sometimes hard to do when people doing things to you that are hurtful, that are harmful to you. I got to be kind to them. That's how I show love to a person that is unkind to me. Love does not envy or boast. It is not ignorant. It is not arrogant or rude. You meet so many rude people on a daily basis, and you have to keep your composure a lot of times. It's easy to hate, but it's so hard to love the unlovable. It does not insist its own way. It doesn't rejoice at wrongdoing, but rejoices with the truth. So I can't be happy when my enemy falls. I can't be happy when my enemy has misfortunes. That's not loving when I do that. That's actually hate. Again, hate is easy. Love is hard, or harder. Love bears all things. It believes in all things. It hopes in all things. It endures in all things. Love never ends. Well, dang it. I think I almost have to be Jesus to do that. I almost have to be God to do that, because these people out here are very unlovable. But I think about a lot of times, have I been unlovable? Yeah, pretty sure I have. Have I been unkind a lot of times? Yeah, I'm sure I have pretty much been sometimes, especially if I don't like you. Have I did a lot of wrongdoings and I wasn't even aware of it? Yeah, pretty sure I have. Do I want forgiveness? Of course. Just think about it. If there is a God and he is the final judge, what am I going to say to him when he asks me, did you love your enemies or did you hate them? What am I going to say? I'm just say, well, look, well, God, it was hard, but you see what they did to me? He's asking me the question. He's not asking them. He's asking them their questions, but he's asking me my questions. My question to you, Selena, did you love your enemies? And I'm pointing at them, at what they did. But he didn't ask me what they did. He know what they did. He asked me what I did. That's the difference. And I'm going to be honest with you. Sometimes I'm wondering, what am I going to say? That's why I said, loving is harder because hate is so easy. Ladies and gentlemen, my point to you is, as I tell myself this every day, don't let hate fester in your heart. Hate can take a lot of your years of life. It can take a lot of your blessings and opportunities for yourself. Hate can even make you look older than what you already are. Even self-hate is another thing that people are not aware of that they have. I'm going to tell you another thing. The reason why people cut themselves a lot of times, because it stems in hate for themselves, and it stems a lot with pain, hurt. You got people that are hurt so much in life, and they feel like they did a lot of the hurting to themselves, so they take it out on themselves. That's a form of self-hatred, people. They cut themselves to make themselves feel better about themselves. They cut themselves to ease away the pain. Even though it's painful when they cut themselves and slice themselves, it feels good. It's like a release to them. Right, Cheeky. Before you love other people, you gotta first love yourself. And if you got so much self-hatred in your about yourself, you definitely gonna be hateful to other people. Whatever is in you is going to come out. And I was gonna do a open panel, but I think I'm gonna just end it at this because I got some cooking to do today, and got some things I want to do. Get ready for the week, so I'm not gonna do an open panel like I thought. But what I do want people to understand is it's an everyday process. You know what I'm saying? So don't be hard on yourself if you're not where you want to be spiritually. And if you do struggle with hate, to understand, hey, Betty, how are you, sweetie? Good to see you. If you do struggle with hate, like I said, recognize the behavior of the person. Don't always look at the person. Look at the behavior, hate the behavior of the person. A lot of things you have to learn to forgive, and it's not forgiving for them. You're not forgiving for them. You're forgiving for yourself, because you owe yourself that much to give yourself a chance. To give yourself a chance to be free from hate and bitterness and malice. You owe yourself that. So again, forgiveness is not for them, it's for you. You owe yourself that. So give yourself a chance. Just like I have to give myself a chance. I have to recognize I'm not forgiving people for them. If that was the case, it would never be done. I'm forgiving because I want to be free, and I owe it to myself to live an abundant life. That's why. Hate don't hurt nobody but you. These people going on with their life hurting other people in the process. But you're only hurting yourself when you can't forgive it. Again, that is something you have to do and practice every day. Every day. Right, Betty. And if we're not careful, like I said, those type of emotions can end up into hate if you don't address them. That's why I work so hard on myself, and maybe I am a little hard on myself when I don't get it, right sometimes. Because like I said, it's a struggle. It's a war. It really is a war going on the inside of you. From your spirit and your flesh. It's a war going on. And you can't allow those emotions to take some of the best years of your life. Often think about certain things, because I'm one of those people, I can hold a grudge, like, for a while. I'm not gonna lie to you. That's why this was such a struggle for me to do this, but it needed to be done. I believe at this point in my life, I have to learn to address some behaviors that I seem to ignore or put under the rug. I can hold a grudge for a very long time, probably until Jesus come back. I always say that. And I had to recognize that I wasn't hurting nobody but myself. Now, mind you, I'm not going to like that person or like the person's behavior or want to be around that person. But to have that resentment that could lead to hate is the problem. That's where I have to check myself when I'm feeling certain kind of ways about certain people. I have to make sure that I'm actually dealing with what I'm feeling at the time. Because if I let things go, it's like, have you ever had a backpack full of books or whatever that's in the backpack? And you put it on your back and you weren't even aware of how much you put in your backpack until you put it on your back. And it's like a heavy, heavy weight. And you're going down to the street to catch the bus. And you got all this stuff in this backpack, from your books, your pencils, your folders, your binders. And you got it all on your back and you walking. By the time you get on the bus, you're tired. I don't care how young you are. That stuff is heavy on your back. You don't realize it until you actually take off the backpack when you get on the bus, that this was heavy as hell. That's how negative feelings that's been festered for years feels. And that's why it's so important for you not to let it grow, not to let it stay on you. It's just like that heavy backpack. You put it on, you walking, you struggling through it, but you walking anyway. Your back bent over, your knees getting tired, your legs getting tired, arms getting tired. Then when you get somewhere and you rested and you take it off, it feels so good that you got that heavy stuff off of you. Ladies and gentlemen, that's how baggage feels in real life. Real emotions, real feelings. That's how that feels. All I'm saying, make sure you love yourself and give yourself a chance to not keep that with you. Because as easy as it is to hate, it's even harder to love. But love brings the best out of you. Love makes you look 100 times better. You can go and smile. You can feel free. You don't have to be worried about, ugh, I can't stand this person. Every time I see this person, I hear this person speak. That takes away from you. Not that person. They gone on being hateful, doing what they do, doing what they know to do. You know what I'm saying? So be good to yourself. Try to be good to other people. Learn the golden rule. Treat people like you want to be treated. Hold yourself accountable. And stop looking and pointing at everybody else trying to hold other people accountable. Thank you, Gary. Proud of you, Selena, on your honesty. People say when you point something out, you have 3 fingers pointing at you. Correct. Everybody wants to hold people accountable when they have the foul behavior. Look at yourself first, and then you can tell me about mine. It took me years to let go. Best decision I've ever made. That's really good, Bennett. Well, guys, I don't want to hold you long on this beautiful Sunday, whether it's raining, I gotta call a lot of my people in California because I got a gang of people literally in Cali. So Cynthia, I hope you are safe as well from the hurricane or tropical storm that is in California right now. That you guys will be safe. I think it's headed your way if it's not already there. But pray for your safety. Everybody that's in Cali, I pray for your safety. Oh, thank you. So do I, Selena. Glad you said something. Thank you. I appreciate that, Denise. Yeah, so like I said, we all have some things we got to work on. Ain't none of us exempt from wanting to hate somebody. Because I've been there, still dealing in the process of forgiving and not allowing myself to get in the way of myself, if that makes sense. Because some of us get in our own way and we don't even realize it. So again, treat people like you want to be treated. I appreciate everybody for coming through. Next week will be very busy for me. This is going to be my first week starting back to the university. So I am going to be busy, but I will try to make time to get around you guys and have a conversation, whatever my next topic is. I don't think I have one scheduled Monday. I'm not for sure. I might change it. I don't know. It just depends on how I feel. But guys, I appreciate your time. I appreciate you coming through. Thank you guys. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. And also share my channel. I hope that I'm able to give some type of good content. Like I said, I'm not a drama channel. You know, I don't want to even go there with people. Like I said, I don't have the time or the effort to get into all of that. Don't care. But I want to make sure that whatever I'm talking about is going to be seen as something that is worth something. Because most of the people that do have 100 people in their chat, they ain't talking about nothing, no way, just drama. So be blessed. And that's not everybody. So just to say that, FYI. So be blessed to everybody. Be blessed, everybody. Treat people like you want to be treated. And have a good day. Bye. Love you to Reese's Pieces.